Bonjour.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, fair enough.
I was trying to think of it German and it just completely went. And I do speak, I mean, which is bad because it just comes to me. It's literally just hello.
Yeah, or you can say Guten Tag.
Well, guten Abend.
Guten Abend. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is like it's 8. It's 8 for me soon. It's just under 7 for you. So
Yeah.
yeah, Dinamo won, ladies and gentlemen, in the Champions League first for the first time away in what 50 in just under 50 years,
20,
48 years.
was it 24 was what they
Oh
said?
no, I'm thinking about Rijeka beating Real Madrid 40 years ago.
All right.
I'm thinking of that. Yeah, yeah. Since Ajax in was it 98 or 99?
something
I think it
something
was
like that, yeah.
98. Let me. Yeah, 98, November 98.
It's been a while.
But it's been 26 years since Dynamo's last away with in the Champions League. But they finally got it. They beat RB Salzburg for the second time ever, and yeah, I mean, impressive performance. Salzburg aren't the Salzburg from before, obviously, and I think that's quite evident in their results so far this season.
Yeah, I mean, both they and Young Boys, I think, are
Yeah,
the two sides who sort of come in this time around. And okay, Salzburg's decline started a bit last season,
yeah,
but I mean, they're the two sides who've come in, and you would certainly have expected them to do something from middle tier European nations, and they're doing absolutely nothing. But that's
so,
both in Europe and domestically as well.
yeah. Domestically, they're fourth, 6 points behind Sturm Graz, which I mean, Sturm have absolutely taken over in Austria. But to get back to Salzburg, I mean, yesterday, I mean, their goalkeeper decided to do some goalkeeping 25 meters out,
Yeah,
which
uh,
fair play. And
he has
the
to be
and
fair.
the yeah, and he had and the commentator on HRT, our radio television, our main television, couldn't for the life of him understand why he got a red.
Mm.
It took him like 5 minutes to realize. Oh, that's why.
I think the difficulty with it is obviously there's two incidents in quite close
Yeah,
succession, in terms of his first challenge on Klanovic, and then
yeah, but I wouldn't even say he's at fault there. I think who's the one? I think it was Petkovsky who pushed them, or no, I think it was Bistrup.
yeah, and then
Bistrup,
obviously he
terrifying.
deflects, and then he deflects to the follow up shot. I know when I watched it first time, I immediately thought, oh, it must be for the second incident, not the first. But then the VAR, and this what seems to have been clarified afterwards, was it's because as he's going through Klanovic.
Oh, that's why. What?
That's what VAR was showing, yeah.
Huh?
So when he was going through Klanovic, he had his arm, so he had his leg up,
Yeah, yeah.
his knee quite high, and then his arm alongside it, and it's hit his arm, and that's why because it's quite low on his arm. But that's what
All right.
VAR and the highlights were showing. That it
Well,
was that instant, not the second one.
well, yeah. But anyways, even if it is a foul, still he tried to save a shot outside the box, which is always a red.
He did, yes.
Yeah. So
But they're saying he got sent off for the first thing.
fair enough. I
But
mean, he was gonna get sent off anyway.
yeah, in for a penny, in for a pound.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it was a very interesting game. So I mean, Bielitsa set it up with a 3-5-1-1 of sorts. I think we can say Ogivara
Mhm.
again started for the first time since Bayern, which was I mean a bit surprising to see him on the team sheet again because he hasn't played more than I think 10 minutes since the loss. Actually, he did play against Slaven, but you know,
Yeah, and I mean, I think I felt it would be quite similar to the team that was against Istra, because RPG has been so reliable, really,
yeah.
and I always get the fear a little bit when I see Benar in the team sheet still.
But he did a great job
He
yesterday.
did, yeah.
He did, and I gotta give it to Maxime Benoit. Like it was like 20 minutes after full time, I just get a notification. Maxime Benoit liked your tweet, and I'm like, dude, can you celebrate the win? I just imagine everybody in the dressing room going mad, singing songs, and you just see Maxime on his phone, just like.
Well, I mean, to be fair, he's not had too many games since moving to Croatia where he could be safely going on his phone after the game.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, fair
Make
enough.
most of it while you can, Maxi.
Yeah, but yeah, he was very good yesterday, so he had a good reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Theophil, Benoit, as we mentioned. Torrenta also brilliant yesterday. Midfield, Sucic, Ademi, Misic with Ristovski on the right wing back and Odguara on the left wing back. And in the first half, Ristovski and Odguara had so many chances to actually provide something, but no crosses, no actually good cross was ever delivered. But then Ristovski in the second half just decided to get 2 assists.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with, I mean, when we touch on both Dinamo's goals, they weren't fluky.
No,
there wasn't any. They were well planned, well worked, clean, good goals from a team that's better than their opposition.
Yeah, and I mean Kulenovic scoring. I mean, now we haven't obviously talked about yet the HNL weekend, but he also scored against Istra, so he's again getting some form. Petkovic obviously had a bit of injury doubt for both matches, but played in both for some reason.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I mean he scored, so
yeah, I think it's abductor, which it's limiting his game time rather than
yeah,
he can't play. Evidently, obviously Nemcic had an injury for the Easter game, and was back for this one, and didn't really have. He had stuff to do, but didn't really have anything spectacular.
yeah. He didn't need to actually. He didn't need to dive. I think every shot he saved, and he was 2 shots. He was just in the right position every time.
Yeah.
Except for the Dedic. The Dedic had a long shot in the first half where I mean he saved it and pushed it to a corner. But Salzburg just not great. I mean they had an early chance from Konate which went over the bar from a corner, and that's it.
Yeah, there's nothing to them really. And as the game went on, I mean, obviously the sending off changes things from some aspect, but I don't think even if they were 11v11 for 90 minutes, it would actually change the result in any way.
Yeah, I think even after the red card, Dinamo just subconsciously just went to defend, and it almost could have gone very wrong because the defense made some very shocking decisions, which obviously happens under pressure, and we've seen Dinamo make stupid decisions against Monaco. You get two mistakes which lead to 2 goals against Shakhtar, where you threw away a win, where Theophil just decides to elbow a Shakhtar player in the face. So Dinamo was famous for that, and when Dinamo scored the second goal, when Petkovic scored it, Dinamo wasn't having the ball at all. It was mostly Salzburg just trying crosses from deep.
But I think that's just Bielsa, really, and how he wants to play in Europe. And it's how he wants to play first time as well.
Yeah.
He wants to be very compact, and then when they get the ball, it's very explosive. And that's broadly what we saw. With not full fluency yet with that style, I think it's fair to say. But
it's working.
Yeah, it's a style that's a much better fit in Europe for this team than Jukuric's style was.
Whatever that was against Bayern.
Yeah.
There's literally no definition.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is it. With Jukurovic, they're behind Bayern. Without Jukurovic, they're ahead of Bayern.
Yeah, which, I mean, I don't know how.
Bayern lost games.
I mean, yeah, and Dinamo got 4 points in the next 2, but I mean, my God. I mean, I have a friend who's a Barcelona fan, and he was just going mad. Which, fair enough, because he absolutely hates Bayern with his guts.
Yeah, but a lot of people do, to be fair.
Yeah. But yeah, Dinamo now 22nd. The next opponent is Slaven Bratislava, if I'm correct.
Yes. So that
Slovan
will be
Bratislava, obviously.
3 points. They've not. Have they even scored yet? No, obviously they've scored. They scored against us.
I was gonna say.
Yeah. But Atlanta couldn't. So, yeah, I mean that should be an easy. That should be. That's been earmarked as 3 points from the start for every team that gets Southern Bratislava.
Yeah.
There's no disrespect to Slovan in any way, shape, or form. It just they are the weaker side of the 36.
Yeah.
36 in the group.
Yeah, it is 36.
So, yeah, you've got to get 3 points there. Then you're talking 7 points. I think the Opta said it's 69% chance of qualifying if you've got 9 points. It's pretty much certain if you've got 10.
Yeah, if you got 10, it's pretty much certain.
You've got to think. They've got to think of it as get what we should be getting against Southern Bratislava. Then it's 3 points from 4 games, 1 win.
Yeah,
it's dare I say easy, or at least it looks a lot easier than it did this time last month.
Yeah, it's looking way easier for Dinamo. Obviously, coming back from losing 9-2 to getting 4 points against Monaco and Salzburg away, perfect. So yeah, it could have been 6. Was so close to being 6 for Dinamo, but yeah, if you beat Slovan, it's 7 points, and then you need to beat Celtic. That's the second. It's away too, right? Or am I being wrong about that?
No, it's at Maximir.
It's at Maximir, yeah. It's at Maximir against the Celtics. So, but before that, you obviously have Dortmund, which if you can get a point there, then even a point against Celtic could, yeah. Fair enough, but you never know.
I think the chance Dortmund would hold a high chance of getting anything against. I think the games after Celtic, Arsenal will be through already, and Arsenal probably have already sorted the top 8.
And Milan is the last game.
Going. So they've got a chance against Arsenal because you imagine Arsenal will rest players. Milan, I mean, that's going to be a very difficult one because of how Milan have started. They're still going to have everything on the line for it. So you'd imagine they're going to be putting out the stronger side, and that's going to be a difficult one.
Yeah, but maybe if it rains or snows at the Maximir, it's January,
levels to
Please don't. God, no, please. Never again. Stop reminding me of snowy/icy days in Velika Gorica. But yeah, I think Dinamo now has a very good chance at being top 24. And obviously, we obviously talked about your Celtic and Dinamo. That's a game that's going to be deciding which one has a very good chance of going to the top 24 or no chance at all.
It is, yeah. I mean, it is. I think I said it last night after both results. That looks like a knockout tie.
Yeah, it's
going to have the feel of it, because if you win that, you're going to be in a position where you're probably through, and with 2 games to go. If you don't, then you're going to be struggling.
Yeah, speaking of Celtic, let's surely talk about Celtic, as you already mentioned Atalanta not scoring. Mario Pašalić missed 5 big chances I saw.
I think it was. I'm trying to remember the stats now.
Yeah, it is 5.
The highest XG in. I think it's the 4th highest XG in 45 minutes in Champions League history.
Oh my god!
I think it's the
highest 0 goals.
I think it's the highest XG total created by a side without scoring, something like that. So yeah, there's very unlike Celtic to not concede 5 in that sort of situation. But hey, we'll take it.
Yeah, you have 4 points now, same as Dinamo, 20th, just under PSG. I absolutely love that Aston Villa is first in the Champions League.
Well, I mean, they deserve to be. I mean, at the end of the day, there's no manager aside from Ancelotti who knows more about winning European trophies than Emery.
Yeah, and also Brest being 5th, so I'm a big fan of the new format for now.
Yeah.
Until the last match, they even all the top sides just get top 8.
I think that's it. Quite aside from the top end looking a bit unfamiliar.
Yeah.
I think aside from that, the success of it is, like say we've got Milan, they are in trouble.
Yeah, so is Atletico.
Yeah, Atletico as well.
Leipzig especially too. I mean, Leipzig has 0 points after 3 games.
So if it obviously doesn't end today, but if it ends today, you're talking about Milan, Atletico, Leipzig, even Salzburg. 4 sides who you would have said would be, pre-tournament would be in that knockout stage, not being in it. So it's certainly spiced things up. There's absolutely no doubt about that. And there are other sides, say Bayern now on the bubble, PSG on the bubble. It looks like we are going to see good sides knocked out, which I think was the concern a lot of people had with this, is that it would just be a procession, but it's not been.
No.
We've had 2 very weird games in terms of Bayern Dinamo and Dortmund Celtic, where there's been a very clear disparity.
Yeah.
But aside from that, there's really only Slovan Bratislava and Zvezda who haven't looked at it at all at any point.
No. Zvezda lost how much this week? 5-1? Yeah, it was 5-1 to Monaco.
5-1. It started quite well, and then just when it went.
Yeah. I saw Sheriff and the scored the equalizer, which is nice to see for the Gorica striker.
Yeah. No, it's
and
pretty good there.
Yeah, he's been very good. And speaking of Gorica, they are getting a majority owner, which we mentioned in the last podcast, but today it has leaked that it's a Russian.
Yes, it's not Mr. Mandarich, which makes me sad.
No,
because I do love him.
Yeah, it's a Russian entrepreneur and 2,133rd most richest man in the world, Denis Stengelov. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I did a little look into him. So he's Russian, but he's in Australia. And he's sanctioned as well, so that's fun. And if you do Google his name, then there was a building that he funded in Siberia. It's like a
that burned down and killed. Yeah.
So he did loads of interviews about that. That's really the most that's on the internet about him, which isn't a great start. But we'll see. What his intentions are. Hopefully, Gorica certainly need it, as we'll mention. Sure.
Yeah, he also owns Zvečevo here in Croatia, so he's already in the Croatian market. Zvečevo produces chocolate, if I'm correct. But yeah. So I also got to mention the Latvian football podcast commented on my tweet about Stengelov going to be the new majority owner, and the poor people at Latvian football podcast asked, his nationality is not an issue for fans? ? What fans?
Well, that's a bit mean.
Listen, I appreciate the good boys in Velika Gorica, the ultras, but there's like 6.5 of you guys. Okay, please.
To be fair, he does seem to have taken pains to distance himself from going to Russia. And I think it's one of those where if he did go to Russia, he'd be arrested and
maybe even worse.
I mean, it's usually worse when you get arrested.
Yeah.
Avoid tall buildings. Pretty much.
And windows.
Yeah, I think he's that sort of Russian. So, you can only take them on the basis of.
Yeah, not every Russian is bad.
Yeah. No, I mean, hey, Celtic fans aren't complaining. God knows what score that is now.
Is it still 3-0? We are also currently Shamrock Rovers. It's 4-0.
Of course.
Oh my god. We said Slovenino to the wrong game. I also voted for him to go to Olympia.
Yeah, I did as well. If I'm being honest. And that is, I've been chatting to people from Lask this week as well. And it's like,
Yeah. he also tweeted, "Did you guys send me to the wrong game?"
Yes.
Yes, we did,
Yes, we
and
did.
we
And
apologize.
we knew what was going to happen.
Yeah, we absolutely knew. We knew Başakşehir is gonna absolutely throw against Celje. But somebody did come and go to both.
I mean, it's close enough that he could have managed it.
Yeah,
It's
like one half and then second
Yeah.
part of the second half.
Exactly. He could have gone to the first half of Celje, 3-0 up, nothing else going on. Why bother?
Let's see what's happening on Lipia.
Easy. Just no dedication.
Yeah, no dedication. But anyways, what else? I mean, yeah. So to kind of go over Stengelov, so he's gonna come in at the start of 2025, and that's when his first money move can be made, and he can transfer some of his money to Gorica. So yeah, next summer maybe we can expect some moves.
Yeah, as long as it's not in the second tier.
Yeah, I was right about to say that. I was talking to a friend to who I went to dinner with here in Dubrovnik. And we just spoke about Gorica, and we obviously said, well, if they go down, they're just gonna do a Šibenik and immediately come back up, and then you have the money. So I don't think it really matters.
No, probably not. But I mean, it makes things easier.
A bit tougher, yeah. It makes it a bit tougher if you get relegated.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. My first course of action would be to get Adrian Pajazetti on a full-time contract. Yeah.
I think the second course of action would be to sort the goalkeeping situation out.
Yeah. Radošić is out, so Banic, I don't think he wants to be. I mean, probably now that he's the starting goalkeeper, he doesn't mind it.
I mean, if he doesn't want to be there, then letting in goals like he did this weekend will very quickly get you sent somewhere else.
True. True. But should we start? Should we start with the last game then? As we already, Varaždin 2, Gorica 1. I mean, it was expected for Gorica to lose in Varaždin, as I think we mentioned that we only can see Varaždin winning this match, but it wasn't that easy.
It wasn't, but it was at the same time. I think Varaždin were quite a lot better than them, but at the same time, they're a side that doesn't really blow sides away. So you're always going to be in it. I think we saw, from Varaždin, they had good performances. See Mitrovsky with a great goal.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things that I'm, if I'm looking at him from a critical eye, I want to see more of from him. Because if he's looking to make a move up, a lot of clubs are looking for their wingers to be more mobile than he is. He appears in the right places, which is what he did for the goal, but he doesn't progress the ball with it at feet too much. Doesn't really want to go outside a man too much. It's almost like he's a right-sided striker on the right wing, which he isn't. He's not been a striker in his career. But I mean, that's something he's got to develop if he wants to have more of an impact on games going forward, rather than this quite in and out form he's had. But I think the other player who was very good,
Mamic.
I wasn't gonna say Mamic. No, actually, Poljud.
Yeah, obviously, I was going to talk about the striker situation of Varaždin. Dabro has slowly been getting dropped.
Yeah, and I mean, I think for his appearance, he wasn't terrible. In terms of he had some good runs and things like that, but from Poljud, Gorica tried to get in close to him, and every time they got in close to him, he just turned and shifted the ball and was away. And they really couldn't deal with that mobility and that sort of close control at all. I think it was almost as if they were expecting a very traditional striker in Dabro, didn't get it, and didn't really know what to do too much from there.
It seemed like they prepared for Dabro and got Poltergeist,
Mhm.
which was very evident.
Yeah,
But Dabro has slowly gotten dropped. This is his second game in a row that he hasn't started, and even 3 games ago he got subbed off at halftime.
yeah. I mean, like I say, he just needs to go, and he'll
Yeah,
probably it'll set him off. But you can't carry on that hoping forever and ever.
yeah. I
And
mean, he got what he got. I mean, he got like, every start apart the last 2 games, so
yeah,
he's had time.
he has had time, and for Varaždin, when you're quite reliant already on Sego, a lot
Yeah,
of your creativity, you can't be carrying a passenger up front,
yeah,
unfortunately for him. And yeah,
yeah. And Poltergeist seems like a good replacement.
yeah,
And they don't really have another in and out striker like Dabro, so you can't really replace him. You can only, give Poltergeist a chance, somebody else in striker. So, yeah.
yeah. And as for Gorica, I mean, they weren't very, they weren't
Yeah,
very good.
they weren't very good. Pajaziti, I did mention that Pajaziti needs to get bar, but I mean, nobody in Gorica really stood out.
No, no. I mean, I think he's benefiting from the fact that we're naturally looking at him,
Yeah,
because we've mentioned him enough on here, and he carries the ball, he gets into good areas, and very rare that he actually wastes a pass or anything like that. Obviously
yeah,
having a hand to play in the goal. I mean, it was always. I mean, even though Varaždin didn't even create 1 xG, it was always more likely to be 3-1 than 2-2.
yeah,
Always. And yeah, I think if we're going through this weekend backwards and we talk about the two sides at the bottom, you would certainly hold out a lot more hope for Saven, based on
yeah.
their performance in defeat, than you would for Gorica based on their performance in defeat.
Yeah, I think just in general, Slaven, like for for this season, it just hasn't looked that bad always. Just they haven't had a really bad performance.
No, and I don't think Gorica had a really bad performance
Yeah,
that I can recall, but it's having just seemed to have spells when they actually look really quite good.
yeah. Speaking of Slaven, I mean, after they beat Dinamo, they lost to Gorica 2-1, which obviously thanks to Susha colliding with his own teammate.
Yeah.
Slaven Rijeka, obviously 0-0,
Mm-hmm.
got a goal disallowed, and against Hajduk, they were for the first 10 minutes the better side and scored 2 goals, which got disallowed due to offside. Fairly enough, though. Not they didn't get robbed
Yeah, they
this
weren't
time around.
they weren't robbed, but I mean, like you say, for 10, 15 minutes, they were right on top.
Yeah,
And I mean, had they in that period really gotten even 1 or 2 on top of Hajduk, I don't think many people would have complained that much, really. Obviously the big. I mean, it's hard to say what the big chance was, whether it's Dolcek from outside the box. That he just. I'm assuming he was trying to aim for
yeah,
the top corner, but
yeah.
instead just aimed for the top corner of the advertising behind it or something. I don't know. It
He he
was
he aimed
not
for
a
the
good attempt.
he aimed for the houses in the background.
Yeah, it was not good.
It
But
wasn't good.
for them, and we've said this about other sides. If you're in that, you've got to be really ruthless, and they
Yeah,
weren't.
they weren't again. Uh, it's kind of the story of Slaven, same as Varaždin, just way less than Varaždin, almost not at all. Only 5 points after the opening 10 games, which not great, but just I mean you have Gorica next, right?
Yeah, I mean it's 5 points, but 3 of those 5 points are points you really, in no way,
No, you have
expected
Šibenik next. Sorry,
to get.
yeah,
Um,
Šibenik's next.
yeah, I mean, like you say, of those 5 points, 3 of them were obviously Dinamo. So you can't bet on that. So it's almost like a net 2 points, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But slowly but surely, like I say, they are connecting more. They're looking better going forward.
Yeah,
They're
Kovacic has got them playing like a side. It's not
yeah,
a side that's gonna drop back. They put pressure on Rijeka, they put pressure on Dinamo, they put pressure on Hajduk.
yeah. They don't have. I mean, they don't have the talent in the squad.
No.
It's the problem. Probably if you had Stakalia still there, then we'd be talking about them having more of a chance.
Yeah.
Just because obviously was very good last season. They don't have that individual quality there, but I think you rather probably would be in their position in terms of putting in performances. They're putting just maybe lacking that one bit of individual quality
Yeah.
that you can probably get in January.
Yeah.
Then you would be Gorica, who are just sort of at this level of stodge.
Yeah. To speak about Kovacic and his tactics for this match, I mean, he obviously didn't have Agbeporno or Trepulja, which is Slaven's main double pivot in the midfield for this whole season. Not this whole season, but mostly under Kovacic. He played Čublić, Liber, and Kamaikov, who are, I mean, three similar types of players who like the ball at their feet and are creative.
Yeah.
And he got them just to run, and they did their job while they were on the pitch.
Yeah, and I think it worked well because Hajduk had runners as well in midfield.
Yeah.
But
you had Kalik, yeah. But I mean, Slaven just realized, hey, they have Krovinovic and Rakitic, both brilliant players on the ball. Just put pressure on them.
Yeah, exactly.
which seems obvious.
Yeah, and that press worked for a spell, but
yeah, but obviously
the longer it goes, the more those players are able to exert influence on the game. It's the same with any pressing versus possession.
Yeah, and you can't press for the whole 90. You're not Manchester City.
No, you've got to hunt well, and that just comes with experience of playing that style, which obviously they haven't for all the time, and they probably won't for many more games because, like you say, this is very much a rotated midfield. For this one because of suspensions. They did well enough.
Let's get to the goals.
Yes.
So first goal was Rakitic just crossing the ball and Boric putting it into his own net. Second goal, more controversial. Bit more controversial. First of all, I wanted to speak about Diallo. Granenia made the perfect tweet of Diallo is the best football player to ever exist. He doesn't know what he's gonna do. The opponent doesn't know what he's gonna do. The fans, the watchers, don't know what he's gonna do. So anything he does is a surprise to all.
Yeah.
And the man, that roulette he did, just he could just turn into prime Messi for some reason, prime Neymar actually, for one move, and then turn into Phil Jones in his worst times. But anyways, so there's a ball, it's bouncing in the middle of the pitch. Diallo gets to it. Bosses tries to head it, which the ball was at like under hip height, I think.
Yeah, it was about. I would say it was about at Diallo's waist.
Yeah, so I think just around that. Yeah, and Bosses tries to go and head it, but Diallo gets to it first, and I mean, what's the correct term? Like grazes Bossett's head as he tries to pull away to not, fully clatter his head with his studs, and the Biuk scores straight off it.
Yeah, and I suppose there's two questions about the decision there. One, which is if the head's there, does that automatically make it a high boot? And two, if it was boot on boot, would it be a foul?
Yeah. True. So I don't think I think the high boot is very last year just because of the height. That is, if that's a high boot, then anytime anybody puts their foot tries to go for a volley is a high boot.
Exactly. You've got to use the context when you're refereeing.
Yeah.
There. If you can see his length forward quite a lot to go for the header, which is absolutely
Yeah.
fair thing to do, then it can't be a high boot. It's a low head, and
Yeah.
you don't get a foul for having a low head.
It's like, I mean, the high boot. When I imagine a high boot, I just imagine somebody putting their leg at this height, like around the face height
It's
or
like
chest.
Haaland scoring last night. Like
Yeah,
that height.
or Jabi Alonso absolutely destroying Nigel De Jong
Yeah.
in the World Cup final. I imagine that as a high boot, not somebody just putting it a little bit up, just around waist height, as we said, and not even like trying to like fully hit it, just trying to poke it up above Busquets. So I don't think it's a foul. It's just Busquets. I mean, fair enough. As you said, it's not a bad thing to go your head first there. It's a reasonable decision from where you're standing, but you went for it, so it's
And I think to the second point, if that was boot on boot, it probably would have been a foul as well, just because you would, well, you'd fall over, spinning, and the referee would naturally be like, right, okay, that's obviously a foul because of how you reacted to the contact.
especially if the studs actually do make severe contact with the other with Busquets' boot.
Yeah, but it's 50-50. It's there
Yeah.
to be won.
Yeah, I think it's the same one as we mentioned about Livakovic last week. It's up to interpretation, which obviously makes it so that one ref calls it, another ref says no foul.
And if you're the person who gets fouled, you've got to be canny about it.
Yeah.
I've mentioned Lewandowski and his reaction to if you get fouled, sell the foul.
Yeah, do your best. do your best, please. Busquets could have tried the "I'm dead" technique. I'm not moving, so can you stop the play? There were also talks about the referee potentially. Celia scored again. Oh no, this is Busquets actually. It's 4-1.
Bit late.
Bit late. But there were talks about, because it is a head injury, should have the referee stopped it immediately because it's foot on head.
That's really such a judgment call.
Yeah.
I'm not putting an opinion out there.
Yeah, as we mentioned, as we were talking about Celje, I need to mention Slovenino, who also saw what happened and commented and said that Busquets is at fault here and the goal should have stood, which it did.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it's not.
And Skomina said the same. So
yeah, it's not a long. I mean, if you say like, okay, it's a head knock, there is not a long gap between the challenge and the goal.
It's like 5-6 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. So you could take that, unless that player is down and knocked out. Then you could let play go there,
or even bleeding.
You've got to use your common sense.
Yeah. So, I mean, what else to mention? I mean, Rakitic amazing, but I'm gonna get pretty tired if I keep mentioning that Rakitic is amazing anytime we play. So, yeah. Hajduk's first now, 4 points ahead, and Dinamo dropped points.
They did. This is it. You've got to take advantage of when Dinamo slip up, and Hajduk did.
Yeah.
And Dinamo
and Istra
slip up.
Yeah, and Istra finally looked and got a result. Looked great against the top side and got a result.
Yeah, and I've said it else. Things praises Gagwa.
Yeah.
What?
It took a while. It took a while for him to play, but it paid off.
Yeah, I think that's the difference between opening day of the season, it was all pace up front. It
Yeah,
was all on the break and during reaction. But here, they had Gagwa who just took the ball in
yeah.
and
And you
held
had
it.
Laval and you had Lisitsa who can run.
Yeah, and it was anything complicated. I went through Wisecout and just watched all his passes, and
No, it's simple.
it was simple, but it was all smart. It was little knocked off to someone running on to go past. It was
Yeah,
everything allowed someone else to progress the ball. When he backed into someone, he won the challenge, and at the final whistle, he, absolutely wound up. That's it. So,
absolutely, absolutely.
there's
Yeah,
not much more you can have to. On top of that, it's a very good assist as well.
yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna be comparing Gagwa to Johan Cruyff, but Cruyff did say that playing simple football is the hardest thing to do,
Yeah,
and he did it.
very
So,
well.
yeah, please, Tramezzani, we've been begging for a bit more to see a bit more from Gagwa. So please, continue this,
Please do.
please, because seeing just pace and attack is, I see why, but you need somebody else in attack.
Yeah, it works in some instances. When you've got a side who are pressing you and you want the pace, then you can put it over the top,
Yeah,
and sort of take a block out of the game. But against Dino, who are going to want to have the ball, you need someone to also keep the ball,
yeah,
and he just needs to add some goals.
yeah. And okay, first goal lists obviously brilliant finish
Yeah,
at the near post. Then was there something between that happened? What was a Demi's? I mean, it wasn't a. So let's speak about the goals first.
yes.
Let's start with the Demi's handball. So first, I forgot which player was in contention with him from Istra for the header.
I have as well, because it would
Yes,
be like you're looking for a Damie rather than
yeah,
Jules.
I'm looking for a Demi and I'm looking for the handball
Yeah,
where it happened. So at first, the Istra player, it goes into him, goes into a Demi's like right here
yeah.
around this
Top of the
area.
armpit. Yeah,
Yeah, around that area goes back into the Istra player, and then into his hand.
yeah. Mm,
And it's like this much space in between them,
yeah.
like no space, not a
And
handball.
no, it's not.
Yeah,
And I appreciate that Easter were very, very annoyed about it. But
no. So Sasha Bialanovic has just come out and said that the referees are pushing Dinamo at the fullest.
yeah, no, I the problem is there are referees who will give it, and I even
Yeah,
saw one this weekend where there was barely any space. I think it was in Radomir Domzal in Slovenia. There was just no space between the contact from the forward and the contact on the arm from the defender, and it was given.
yeah.
So it's not a consistently applied rule, which
Well,
is
yeah. The
why you get
problem
more
is,
people kick off about it. But
yeah.
this
The
was not.
problem, yeah. The problem is that was direct, right? Radomia.
Yeah,
Yeah, this was it took 3 bounces into the hands, like at this much space. So
yeah. I mean, it's not consistently dealt with by referees, and I do think it's one of those where if he'd given it, VAR probably wouldn't have ruled it out, and
no,
we're in that annoying grey area where it's not clear and obvious error either way.
yeah,
But I can understand why you get annoyed about it, but
obviously,
I think it was called right on the field. What I don't think was called right on the field was the second yellow card.
yeah. So Stefan Keller took down Stojkovic, and yeah, he got a second yellow, which
I think took down is a generous way of describing that from Stojkovic's perspective.
yeah, uh, allegedly. Let's add
Yeah.
allegedly. But yeah, do you see it as a foul from
No,
your comments? Yeah,
no, absolutely not.
yeah, it's right. It's right on the Yeah, it's right on the tip for me, just on the fence.
Yeah, and even if it is, it has to be a yellow card because obviously
Yeah,
the position it was in, and you would
yeah, it
say,
wasn't anything
okay, it's quite
dangerous.
cynical. It's stopping them coming through. That's
Yeah,
understandable if there was contact, but there isn't. Or if
yeah,
there is, it's there's the barest.
yeah. But Stojkovic, as you said, made the most out of it.
Yeah, it's smart.
Yeah, gotta do what you gotta do.
You,
Uh, Torrente also, there were shouts for him to get a yellow card, a second yellow, if I'm correct, or first. Was I think it was first actually.
yeah,
Yeah, it was the first yellow, but then he got a second yellow in the second half. But he just brought down, who was it? Fagolaval? Yeah, it was
yeah.
Fagolaval. I mean, just clear yellow, which I mean, Bell just didn't give.
Which happens early in games.
Yeah, and the penalty.
Um, yeah.
Yeah,
Again,
I
I don't
saw.
think it's gonna have too many complaints there.
Yeah, so I didn't watch the game live. I was watching Smile 2 in the cinema.
Okay.
Okay, movie, not the best, not the greatest, not the worst. But I come out of it and I see 2-2, and I just see all on my Twitter, Dario Bell disaster class. Dario Bell pushes Dinamo to another win, and I'm just like, what the fuck happened here? A penalty, a red card. Okay, okay. There's gonna be a bit to talk about. Then I actually rewatched the match, and I'm like, I mean, it wasn't. I mean, it was bad. Just in general, his refereeing was bad. Just
It was just normal bad. It wasn't anything
yeah, it
special.
wasn't. It wasn't superiorly bad. We've seen worse
Yeah, I mean, like you say,
from
with
Bell,
that,
especially.
with the penalty that was given, I don't think Makic can do anything else other than what he did.
Yeah,
From a goalkeeping perspective, he's got to go and clear that out. He's just unfortunate enough that there's a player there that he has to clear out as well.
yeah,
Usually, and this is where again I can understand, sort of the cliche is, goalkeepers are they're always protected,
yeah,
and usually that decision might go in the favour of the goalkeeper.
yeah,
But I don't think you can't watch it and have too many complaints. He's done his job correctly, Mike Hitch, and injured himself in the process, obviously, as we've learned
I,
today.
I was about. Yeah, I was about to talk about that.
With that shoulder, we've mentioned it before.
Yeah,
But sometimes if you're a goalkeeper, you've got to, as part of doing your job, you foul people.
yeah,
And half the time you do get the benefit of the doubt, but that means half the time you don't.
yeah. Before we go on to Mike's injury, I want to talk about the Demi, who's, I mean, just
Back to life.
starting to look like his old self under Bielitsa.
Yeah.
Was brilliant against Salzburg, which I didn't mention. I mean, he's just doing his job. He's again the old Ademi we saw before.
Yeah, I mean,
It's taken him a while.
Yeah, it's taken him a while to get up to speed from China.
Yeah,
And obviously he's not doing anything during the international breaks anymore, so he's having more rest on his old bones. But yeah, we'll see. I think he's also being asked to do a slightly more limited role.
yeah.
By
Which I mean,
so
obviously, yeah. Which obviously, but
he's got less relying on him, which is again going to help him reach those levels.
yeah. But Bielitsa is, I mean, getting him just back into form, which for Dinamo is great because he's obviously your captain. So if he's on form, then the rest of the squad will just follow because he is the leader. And what was that? Yeah, back to Mike's injury. So the shoulder injury you spoke about exactly in the same game, Istra Dinamo in the start of the season. They play again, and he's injured.
Yeah, and
So
I assume it'll be a long one as well.
yeah, it's at least a month. So
yeah,
So is Marian Čorić the second goalkeeper at Istra? Yeah,
Yeah.
he is. Or Paus Kunst. So one of the two will now be on the in between the sticks for
Yeah.
Istra. So that we'll see how they fare
Yeah.
until Makic comes back.
Yeah. I mean, I think the good thing is at least they know they've got a good defense in front of whoever's
Yeah.
coming in.
Yeah, and to speak about another midfielder who's just looking amazing, Marco Soldo.
Yeah. God, we're cooking with the links tonight.
Oh, we're cooking. We're cooking. So Soldo has, I mean, just been in form. The man has what 3 goals? Actually, even more. So he scored against Vartex on the
Mhm.
last month in the cup. He assisted against Lokomotiva. Didn't provide anything in Osijek's win against Varaždin. Scored for Osijek in their loss against Istra. Assisted was it Diandre Bello? Yeah, it was Diandre Bello against Andorra for the under 21s. And against Šibenik got a goal and an assist.
I mean, what do you rate more highly, doing something in the cup or doing something against Andorra? Anyway,
You know what? I think Martex is tough.
yeah,
or even I mean Slavonia Požega. I mean Osijek just I mean they barely beat them. It took 2 very quick goals to get into the lead in the 84th and 85th, but they got it.
yeah. I think this was. I don't know whether it defies our sort of theory about Osijek because they won a game. They won the game, but they were absolutely dire in the first half.
No, absolutely no. They were nowhere.
And then they came to life and
yeah.
So
Second half was amazing.
I think maybe that's the balance they need is one terrible half, one good half,
One terrible half. So Computer is just gonna be like, guys, one half, play like utter shit.
Yeah,
Like you've never seen a ball before.
first
Second
half,
half,
play terribly, come in 1-0 at worst. Second half, you can turn up.
Second half, prime Barcelona. Prime Barcelona. Champions. And yeah, I mean, they got a 3-0, not 3-0, 3-1. Santini got a very, very quick goal, and I was like, okay, Šibenik's doing it again.
Yeah.
And Santini even had the chance just before his goal to make it in the first minute where he hit the bar.
Yeah, it's kind of almost like what we said about Seven Belupa.
Yeah.
Early, Šibenik just absolutely ran all over them.
Not even early, it's like off the bat, like first minute.
Yeah, and okay, I think they massively come back into it, but for 45 minutes there was one winner of that game. First 10 minutes, obviously, like I say, Santini scores in the third, but Šibenik create I think almost half their XG in the game, and then don't do loads else for the rest of the game. We've seen a couple of nice bits and bobs from Majic, but that's about it. I think certainly they have hit the buffers a bit from their hot start, but they started hot. They've got the gap they want to the bottom, and then for Osijek, I mean Hernani. I think we mentioned Hernani just because for a period he was the only player doing any attacking.
But was missing every chance he had.
Yes. So Kalik. Then, but then once they were able to get Jakubovic into the game, or they was able to do things in better areas, then slowly but surely they just dragged themselves on top, and eventually they won out quite easily.
Yeah. And I mean, just that cross from Soldo just didn't give up on the ball, just 100% into the game and just crosses it, and Kubovic just puts it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, Soldo is just on fire. I obviously spoke about the Slavonia game in the cup. Just scored again. He's just even more on fire than Ademi. And yeah, nobody's really missing Nejašmić for now in Osijek because he's really turning up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how Nejašmić is doing. Probably he
I
doesn't care because he's doing it very richly.
I really couldn't care.
But I mean, he was never. I mean, he was central to Osijek, but he was never, absolute standout in the league, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So he was someone who was replaceable. It just, obviously had to, one, they had to replace him, but two, they just had to get into a bit of form, really, and that's what they're slowly but surely doing now. There's still clearly issues because they haven't shown themselves able to put in a 90-minute performance and win a game yet. But the more you get your Kupovic scoring, the more likely it is that you're actually going to be able to play a normal game as a top four side against Salzburg or whoever, and actually run the game for 75, 80 minutes and deal with quite little pressure without losing the head.
Yeah, but the problem they'll have, because Tuya has now gotten injured, so Osik's defense is just very, very slim currently.
Yes.
I don't think they have any other, because Guedes is also injured, so Hastic is going to have to be brought back into central defense. So then you're probably going to be putting Bukvic or Romerovic on right back.
Yeah.
Which doesn't help.
Well, Bukvic only does that for under 21s, doesn't he? Against Andorra.
Against Andorra.
Amerovic is fine if they're deploying him as that. He's done it enough to know his way around. But yeah, I mean, it's not ideal.
Yeah, and Jelenic has paid back Osijek, Kopitelli for his terrible game against Istra, where he also got injured.
Yes.
But he's come back quickly 2 weeks after and provided the goal.
Yeah.
So he's doing fine, but Tuya isn't.
No.
So fast recovery to Tuya, and hopefully Osijek can muster up a good defense.
Yeah, I mean, they should be able to, in terms of maintaining possession and keeping the pressure off. We know they have obviously a good goalkeeping situation. Or at least a resolved one now. But that super will probably they'll need like Stantas to sort of step up. In the interim, just to make sure you're taking the pressure off that, because you can't afford your defense to be doing a lot of running when you don't have any spare.
Yeah, I also saw Mikic being linked to Osijek before his injury, because Malens obviously doesn't seem to be trusted, or just probably wants to move out. So they're looking at Mikic, but after his injury, that's probably dropped the interest a bit.
Yeah.
To be fair, and Rijeka, I mean, as I already said, Hajduk is 4 points clear. So Rijeka and Dinamo both draw points and 2 draws. So yeah, good for me.
Yeah. I think my takeaway from this is Vivancic is getting better.
Because he's playing.
Yeah, I mean, it took him a while to get into the swing of things at Lokomotiva, but slowly but surely he's exerting a lot of influence on the game. In this particular one, there wasn't a real decisive intervention from him, but you're looking at the positions he's taking up, being able to get shots off.
Yeah, he's getting more and more consistent.
Yeah, he's doing exactly what you want that loan to do.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he spoke about in an interview not that long ago, where he just wants to play. He doesn't want to come off the bench 4 times for Dinamo and play in the cups. So, it's much better to be a Lokomotiva playing in and out and being a starter and actually, being a key player, and especially in that number 10 role in behind Trop. And you have good backup. You have Smaka and Fetai in behind you. So, very, very good team. So he's just getting started.
Yeah, and we're certainly seeing Fetai coming along as well this season. I mean, we didn't see loads of him before.
Just glimpses
last season, just glimpses, but he's developed into a real contributor this season so far. I mean, obviously they've still got we know what the problems are in terms of you relying on the chop, and he can only roll the clock back so many times, which was enough in this particular game. It was a very, very cool penalty.
Yeah, and about the penalty, was it a handball?
This one, yeah.
It was just like I had to watch it. I think like 5 times to actually see that it touched, but it took a long time for me to see it.
Yeah, it's one of those. It doesn't look like it from when you're watching it at full pace.
Yeah,
at all. Because
but just like slow down, like fully slow down, then you just see that little bounce.
Yeah,
for one pixel that it goes up.
We need to get the snickometer from cricket. That's what
I don't
it needs.
I do not watch cricket.
That's when,
but
they have a little microphone that is on the wickets, so that if it catches the edge of the bat, any noise is caught.
Yeah, fair enough. True. Radelic decided to turn up as Cristiano Ronaldo.
I mean, it's sort of like watching. It puts me. It gives me faith as not in amazing shape. I'm not unfit, but I'm not Simone Biles. It gives me comfort to know as a 38-year-old man that if he can do that, I'm sure I still can.
Fair enough.
It's kind of like that when you see someone like that do something like that. It's sort of like when Peter Crouch did it and things like that.
Yeah.
It's almost it's not agility or flexibility or it's sort of like anti-skill. You're like, how did you do that?
Yeah.
You did not mean that. You're not meant to be capable of that. So my mind's just going to process you as not having been capable of that, and it's just glitch in the matrix.
Yeah, you're a lanky center back. You're 2 meters. Please stop it.
Yeah, just head.
But no. You probably could have had a better finish with the head too. Yeah. But no. He decided to go full Cristiano Ronaldo and just bicycle kick, just the bicycle kick and goal of the round.
Yeah, definitely.
will be in contention for goal of the month, which we haven't had like any bangers this month, right? This weekend, no.
This weekend, no, definitely not. I mean, usually we just sort
I
of
mean, except this one, but
yeah.
Except this weekend. Yeah, Dinamo, Varaždin, Cordoba, easy. Lokomotiva. I mean, Vrankovic, actually.
Yeah.
Vrankovic.
These were the only 2 goals Rijeka scored so far this month, so
yeah.
There's no obligatory 30 yards in contention
yet. Yeah, so Vrankovic, and that's it. Yeah, just Vrankovic for now.
Yeah.
Vrankovic and Radelic. So yeah. Anything? I mean, dual shop, obviously penalty. We spoke about that. Karadzic scored.
Mm-hmm. He had a very good game.
Yeah, and he was playing as a center back.
Yeah, and winning headers against people who are obviously concentrating on doing bicycle kicks at the other end.
Yeah. He was doing his head after scoring that he just forgot how to head the ball. But Frank Karadzic obviously as a center back. Modi Buena we're seeing, or Buen. How do you pronounce it? I'm just gonna call him Modi. Modi just getting more and more playtime.
Yeah.
Third star in a row, and I don't think he'll get displaced.
No.
Unless Mercenary gets back into the starting lineup again.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we're thinking of dodgy handballs, Mercenary last season, it's certainly one. But it's the result that does their job, which is keep them away from trouble.
Yeah.
Not out of the woods by any means, but yeah.
And big props to Šubarić, who once again showed up for Lokomotiva. Big save right at the death from you to stop Jankovic.
Yeah.
And Smolcic obviously had a good game, so you know,
Couple
good.
of throws.
Yeah, with a couple good throws. At Rory the Lab. And I also
Mhm.
want to touch on Rijeka's striker situation.
Mhm.
Gorica started this game and just didn't look great, to be fair.
No, and I mean, well, this is the problem that they've had is that no one they've put there has really looked great.
Yeah.
Andrich was at 1 goal in 9. We've
Yeah,
not seen much of
and
Dogan yet.
yeah, I was about to mention Dogan because Jalovic has said that Dogan is most likely going to be starting this weekend because Perica. So let me actually find the exact comments. So Andrich had a mild concussion in the cup game against Bednia, and
Mhm.
Perica has back problems.
Well, it can't be from carrying the team, that's for sure.
That's
That's the midfield's job. That's Radelic's job. Maybe that's what they need to do. Just put Radelic up front. Get
I
a better
mean,
striker.
he obviously likes to be playing with his feet more than his head, even though he's 2 meters tall.
Yeah.
So give it a chance. But I think Dogan, show us Dogan for a bit. He obviously played like 10 minutes in this game, but I mean, he's going to be starting now against who did Rijeka have again this
They've
weekend?
got Varaždin.
Yeah, they have Varaždin. So we'll see if Dogan can provide something.
It's a difficult task for a striker, to be fair, when you're there with a bunch of midfielders who really like shooting from outside the box.
And yeah, just despise passing.
Yeah.
If they're in a chance to shoot or to pass, they're shooting.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to be, really alive to rebounds and things like that, rather than just normal striker play.
Yeah.
Which is, it's a hard side to get in form for us in that position.
Yeah. Speaking of the next round, let's get into the next round, which starts on Friday with Slaven Šibenik.
Yeah.
Well, actually, today when you're listening to this,
Yes.
we're recording on Thursdays.
Yeah. And that will be an interesting one because if the 7 of the first 20 minutes against Hajduk turn up, then they'll be in a very good chance of winning. If the Šibenik of the first 15-20 minutes against Osijek turn up, they'll be in a very good chance of winning.
Or if both show up, it's a draw.
Yeah, exactly. If both show up or both don't show up, it's a draw.
It's a draw. Yeah, but they have Slaven now have a reporter back and Trepilia back, so
yeah.
Yeah.
It's very much, I know you said it before about I know Fridays, it's either very bad or very good. And this is a game which really there isn't going to be an in between. It's going to be 4-3 or 0-0.
Yeah, I was gonna say the last two have been great. I mean, Lokomotiva Rijeka was great. Istra Osijek, two very quick goals from Istra, and then after that was just meh.
Yeah.
And then Solda scored late to give some hope, but nothing. But yeah, we'll see. I can see this being a 0-0, and I can see this being a 3-3. So yeah, and then Hajduk Lokomotiva. Hajduk are yet to lose. They have 2 wins on the trot, and yeah, this is the match they have to prepare for Mlada Zdralovi in the midweek in the Champions League of Croatia.
Yeah, and again, this is one you've got. Well, firstly, obviously, Hajduk have to win it, but it's a weekend where Dinamo are coming from a game in midweek, and you didn't have a game in midweek, so it's one you've got to try and take advantage of.
And it's also Dinamo Osijek, which Osijek always causes trouble, except at the Maximir for some reason.
Unless they play badly, in which case they win.
Yeah, Hajduk. I mean, we'll see. Lokomotiva has always been a tough job for Hajduk in the last few seasons. I mean, just look at the last 4 games. Hajduk has just won one of the last 4 games against Lokomotiva, which tells you enough.
Yeah, and we know, obviously from the game we just talked about, we know Lokomotiva can turn up against a big side.
Yeah.
Whether they can do it consistently is another matter. And I think possibly that was 90 minutes of them putting a good performance to get a result, and this will be the 90 minutes where they get done.
Yeah. And also the last 3 home games for Hajduk against Lokomotiva, they have just 1 win and 2 losses. So yeah, Lokomotiva is not a great side to play against for us. Rijeka Varaždin. Also, not a great side for Rijeka to play against because they don't have a really good track record lately against.
No, and if any side can frustrate you, it's Varaždin.
Yeah,
Rijeka are quite easily frustratable unless they're scoring from 25 yards.
true. We'll see what happens. I mean, Rijeka hasn't won in the last 3 games, so and can really get goals. So we'll see if Dogan can provide a goal.
Yeah.
Dinamo Osijek already shortly mentioned it. Dinamo obviously coming off a big win against Salzburg in the Champions League. Will it motivate them, or will the mixed up squad from Bielsa, which I think it's probably going to be a mixed up squad, and Petkovic, I mean, he could play, but I don't think they'll risk it.
Yeah, it depends how much. I mean, obviously they will rotate at the back because
Yeah.
you would imagine RPG will come back.
Yeah, and they won't play a free at the back against Osijek.
Yeah, of course. And would you give Ademi 3 games in 7 days?
No. I think Krog, Stojkovic, or even Kachavenda get a start.
Yeah, and Stojkovic is starting to come more into it as well as the season's going on. So there's certainly chances for Osijek, but I think we have to assume Dinamo will win it.
Yeah. I mean, they're obviously favorites, Dinamo, but we'll see. Yeah. And ending the week, again, not the best game to end the week. I still don't know why we're not ending on Dinamo Osijek.
But we're ending on Gorica Istra. The real main event.
Yeah, the real main event. God. Like, the last 2 weeks, this weekend, just why end on Varaždin Gorica?
Yeah, I agree with you there.
Yeah, and now we're ending on Gorica Istra. And next week, we are ending on Varaždin Hajduk. That's a bit better.
Yeah. But yeah, just swap. It should be Dinamo Osijek, and like say, just swap.
Yeah. I mean, if it's on the same day, what's the matter? Change it up by 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
I really don't get it. So whoever's doing the scheduling, please fix it. Fix yourself.
Yeah.
Listen to a little bit of Coldplay and fix you. Anything else that we need to mention? Have we missed anything big?
Don't believe so. No. You usually pay more attention than I do, so if you can't think of anything, I usually can't.
True. I am the man behind Christian football after all, so I should be the one.
Yeah.
I should be the one, paying attention.
You're the ideas guy.
Yeah, I mean, Edin Terzic has been mentioned to potentially going to West Ham, my other club. Lokomotiva has been absolutely dog shit.
I mean, that's a league I don't know anything about.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, we can talk about Poljud actually. I mean, Hajduk.
Yes.
So the first plans for Poljud Hajduk Stadium were to fully renovate it, and then the split mayor just came out and said, "Hey, this is gonna cost too much money. So instead of putting all that money into the renovation, let's just put a little bit into renovation, so Poljud can actually be a good and safe place to play games at, and let's invest the rest into a new stadium at where Park Mladeži is the stadium of Split, Rijeka Split."
Yeah. It's 14 million that's been set aside, if I'm right.
Yeah, something like that. So yeah,
I mean that should go a decent way. I mean, what was it? 40 million was cost of opus.
Yeah, so 40, just above 40, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that gives you an idea of sort of how far the money can go.
Yeah.
Depending on whether building's delayed for 2 years.
Yeah, but the problem here is because the renovations at Poljud have been waiting so long. It could have been done years ago. And it should have been done years ago.
I mean, that applies to, I think, a lot of the stadiums.
And anything, to anything, really.
Yeah.
But obviously, Hajduk fans aren't a fan of moving which I mean, hardly are ever fans, happy to move, especially Poljud, which hasn't even been there that long in comparison to like some stadiums.
Yeah, is it 46 years old? 78 it was built?
79, so 45.
Close enough.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's not
45 years old.
it's not that old a building, but I suppose the problem with a lot of these stadiums that were built around that time
Yeah,
is how they were built. It's not really the most sustainable
yeah,
way in the world.
no. Yeah, so I mean, I'm not a fan of the move. I would rather they fully renovate Poljud so it can last, another 20, 30 years.
Yeah, but you got I mean, the money
Especially,
will
and
get something decent. I think that's
yeah, yeah, and especially when the new stadium won't even be probably more than 25,000, I can guess,
no, but
capacity.
I mean, again, does it need to be?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, it fills out on occasion, but
Yeah.
not often enough to say, well, actually, that's the size of stadium we should have.
Well, actually, before I put any thoughts into it, I want to see what the stadium would look like.
Yeah, exactly. Get the
Yeah.
architects on it.
Yeah, because Poljud is very unique. It's very special to look at, and very special to be into, because it's always like, yeah, this is a this is a really nice place to be at and watch a football game. And then you look at the roof, which has like tiles missing, and you're like, if that collapses, I'm dead.
Yeah. And we should remember, it's not a stadium that was custom built for football either,
Yeah,
which automatically puts it down in a lot of people's estimations.
yeah. And obviously, lots of football fans hate the athletics track around any stadium.
Yeah. Hi.
Yeah, yeah. What else? I mean, Gvardiol decided to score a banger again.
Yeah.
Just
It's quite
right
good.
foot. Yeah, just right foot. Fair enough. Quite good.
And having Rick and Pašalić, we should mention, was it's now the record creation goal scorer in Serie A.
Yeah,
Of the
he
weekend.
scored 50. He scored 50. He scored his 50th goal.
Yep.
In the Serie A, or
Perisic
surpassing
was on 49.
49. Yeah. So he's now the only player at the top for the creation goal scorers in Italy. So fair enough. Very nicely done, Mario.
Yeah,
For somebody that struggled.
It's a participation medal, let's be honest, of a stat.
Yeah.
But
And I absolutely love the little paper 50 and a smile just in the corner. Michael Jordan, not Michael Jordan, Will Chamberlain. Yeah, Will Chamberlain, and what was I? Yeah, for somebody who struggled to find his footing after leaving Hajduk and going on loans to everywhere in Europe under Chelsea, he found his footing at Atalanta, and it's paid back nicely.
Yeah, well, to be fair, it worked for De Bruyne as well.
It'll work. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
So I think that's it.
I think so too, because I can hear shouting.
Yeah, and it's exactly 8 p.m. for you and 9 for me. So, anyways, thank you for listening and or watching, and we'll see you next week.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Auf Wiedersehen.